VHS, I could play the
DVD
movies.
players are like a dime a dozen, man. That's why I ask. Because like VCRs, on the other hand, they're not so easy to find, especially good ones. Because anything made in the last like 10, 15 years of the of the life of cycle of VHS suck.
Yeah, for a good one, you have to have like an original that was good in 1998. Those are still good.
Yeah, late 90s models are generally the best you can find. If you can find a hi-fi stereo in any name brand in the late 90s, you're probably good to go. Those are generally the best of the best.
No, because at that time they didn't mind physical media, not like now, the last 10 years, where they basically built obsolescence into quite a few things. And this is like true for video games as well. This is something that should concern Rob, being more of a gamer, with like this whole CBomb thing that's been revealed in the last few days. And it's even worse on the Xbox.
I don't know much about this. Does anybody else really know anything?
Well, here's the whole thing. I'm reading here from IGN India, and the IGN I always say isn't worth the paper it's printed on. They're using an anachronistic thing here. The whole issue here is there's a battery inside your console, much like you have inside your PC, and when that gets drained out, it won't be able to. It'll ask. Your console will ask to be synced the day and time to a remote server. And if that server is offline, then you're going to be locked out of your games. I'm like, well, that's a lot of ifs, guys.
Actually, there's no if about it. There is no if. Like, then you've been reading bad news here, because there's no ifs. This is absolutely an issue. It's not an issue for the PlayStation 5 yet. It's not an issue for the PlayStation 4 yet, although it will be in a few years. It is becoming an issue for the PlayStation 3, although there are ways around that. Because there are two things. You have this battery, and what this battery does is that it allows it tells the internal timer of the PlayStation Network, something like that, what time it is. And so the PlayStation Network functionality is able to continue. And if this battery stops working, then that's fine, because you can do exactly the same thing by logging into the PlayStation Network. So this is fine if you have one of the two working. But the day when both are working, when they have shut down the PlayStation Network for that console, and you can't replace the battery, then the console is a brick. In the case of PlayStation 4, the day in the future when they've shut down the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Network for the PlayStation 4, I mean, that's years into the future.
Yeah,
that day comes, that console is a brick. You won't even be able to play physical games on it. It'll be completely useless.
There
it is.
Oh, cool.
Depends how old it is.
Well, I was about to say to Andre, the thing about that is, like, it'll be an issue for the PS4, but chances are you're going to be replacing your PS4 with the PS5 or your PS5 with the PS6 or whatever you have.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to replace all the games you have.
That's true, but at the same time, and I always explain it this way.
And that's fine. It doesn't matter for those that only play the new stuff and don't care. But for those that want to preserve what they have, it's a big issue, because that's not going to be possible, not without hacking.
Well, my question is then, does this just affect the online games, or is this your physical games you're trying to play too?
No, on the PlayStation 4 is a physical game. You won't be able to play physical games either. The entire console is going to be bricked, and there will be no way to fix it other than to hack it. Whereas on the PlayStation 3, what's going to happen there is that you can still play the physical games. You just won't be able to access anything that's in the PlayStation Network, nor any patches that have come later for the physical games. But on it, you can still play the physical games. Whereas on both the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5, in that day in the future when those stores are shut down, you won't even be able to play games on discs. The entire console will be bricked.
I got games I ain't even opened yet.
Well, here's I always say it like this: somebody will find a way. If I can boot up, if I
on
can
on PlayStation 3, there is a way, and I think there is on PlayStation 4 as well. But that way
Well,
involves.
Hijabi Gamer says we're wrong.
Oh, okay, yeah, but maybe I understood it wrong then.
Actually,
Do correct me.
I think we know each other on Twitter. If you're available right now, if you know more about this,
Yeah,
Well,
do come on if you
yeah.
can, and shed some light on me.
But one of the things
on the situation.
One of the things, though, that I always have to remind some people of is that the whole idea behind a video game console is that they do not make a profit on the hardware; they make a profit on
the software.
On the software.
Oh,
on the
okay.
games.
Basically, what I was wrong about, she says you won't be able to play physical games on PS3. Yeah. So I'm right about everything else.
It's just the same.
So
if you want to come on in,
will also be a complete brick. Then.
Just the same. If you want to come on in and help us explain it, because I'm totally still lost on this.
Yeah. But at the same, like I said, at the same time, like, you know, like it or not, they don't want you playing your old games forever. They want you buying new games. It's the same way where Gillette sells you the handle for $8, but the refills are 25. I mean, it's literally called the razor blade model.
Yeah.
You know, that being said, like I said, somebody will find a way to get these to work. And this is like I said, your problem for the people that are saying, "Oh well, preservation." I always ask them,
yeah, somebody will do, but the problem is that you're going to have to hack it in order to have it continue working the way that it always should be working.
Okay, well,
it has a time bomb built into it, and you're going to have to hack it to defuse it.
And the percentage.
We're going to have the Hijabi Gamer coming in 5 minutes to explain all this to us.
Okay,
perfect.
But like I said, the percentage of
another
people
language to me.
The percentage of people, yeah, the percentage of people who are willing to hack are probably going to be a very small percentage, and the ones that are just more concerned about playing the latest Ratchet and Clank game are gonna be doing just that. You know, like I said, this is an industry that is built upon the idea of built-in obsolescence. I mean, so it's not surprising that at some point.
No, it's not surprising in the slightest, but but that doesn't make it okay.
Well, I was going to say, while we're waiting for Hijabi Gamer, why don't we go back and get our classic super chats, because I lost them all now on the screen.
Hold on, please.
Lead us back into this conversation.
Rob, preservation matters. The video game developers themselves usually hide and eventually lose the source code for their own games. Yeah, well, you know what? Because there's no reason to keep it. Because of the architecture that new games and new consoles are built on require oftentimes a completely different source code.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why you have to have the original console still working. When they have a time bomb in them that essentially make them all explode, means that you can never play those games again. They will be lost to history.
Well, you know,
that's exactly why it's stupid to put a time bomb into them.
You know, well, but
again, it's not stupid from their point of view. From their point of view, it's fantastic. From our point of view,
yeah. Look at Diego's.
At the same time, I'm not exactly, you know, anxious to play Blast Chamber again. I mean, there's a lot of games that just aren't very good. They're very, very small percentage of games you're actually going to want to revisit. And for those people who do, they will find a way.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hijabi Gamer, how you doing? Don't be nervous. We're all friends here, so don't. except Tom. No, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
Don't be nervous.
Just give me 1 minute to get over my Star Truck.
Star Truck. That's the latest series from Alex
Kurtzman. She's starstruck.
Oh, come on. No.
Yeah. No worries. In the meantime, but first I want to say welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on. Everyone, the Hijabi Gamer. If you haven't seen her channel yet, you absolutely should. And it's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah.
So welcome to Midnight's Edge. And how are you?
In shock and awe, because I've been listening to you for years.
Well,
thank you.
Well, thanks for that. It's a pleasure to finally have you here.
I've been listening to your channel for a little while now too. Yeah, I really like it.
So just 1 minute, like totally Star Trek. I mean, I can't believe I'm actually in a live chat with Andre, Tom, and Rob. Oh my
And-
god.
And Paulie.
And Paulie.
It's okay.
Well,
It's
Paulie,
okay.
I haven't known as long, but
No,
Andre,
I'm new
oh my
here
god,
too.
you're
I
like
still
my
get the butterfly.
hero, Tom, Rob. I
Hijabi,
remember
I
the
still get the
first-
butterflies. So
Oh, no,
it's-
come on. You
You're
know-
in
you-
the same. It's all good.
No,
You're in
you
good
don't-
company.
I've been listening to you guys since when the first time I remember Tom and Rob were like doing this. They're like, this is the first time Midnight's Edge After Dark. And it's like we're joining with Midnight's Edge, and you had an original channel. I'm like, I've been listening to you for that long, so you're like celebrities to me.
Oh, awesome.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
It's high praise. Thank you very much.
I remember exactly when that was. That would place us back to 2017.
Oh,
Yeah.
What am I-
So I just was using a different account, so
oh.
that's why you did notice this same account. So yeah, I just wow. Anyway, it's an honor to actually get to talk to you guys. Wow.
the honor's ours, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to Midnight's Edge, and you're among friends here. So just relax and chill back. So, yeah.
You're awesome.
So
You're
tell
gonna do
us,
great.
because I'm not that big a gamer. Of course, I
Yeah.
am a gamer, but I'm a retro gamer. That's why I like
Yeah.
my Sega Mega Drive. It's analog. My great grandkids can inherit my analog Sega Mega Drive
Yeah.
long after I'm dust, because it'll continue working forever, and so will the games on it,
Yeah.
provided that they are maintained
Yeah.
and outlive us all. But it's not like that since the PlayStation 3
No.
and onwards. So you follow this more closely than
Yeah.
us, I'm sure. What's the issue?
So Spawnwave has a YouTube channel, and he actually experimented with it. So he took apart a PlayStation 3 and he removed the CMOS. So there's a small battery on the motherboard for the PlayStation 3, and it connects. It follows the date, so it gives you a internal date that you can't change, and so it syncs with the trophies. So he found that even if you use a physical copy of a video game and the battery has been removed, unless you can link it to the PlayStation Network, your console will not work. It will not play physical media. It will not play digital media. He said even if you were to replace the battery, so let's say the battery dies and you want to replace it, if the PlayStation Network is down, your console will not work, physical or digital. PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, they're assuming it's going to be the same for the PlayStation 5. Xbox, on the other hand, is different because Xbox has been very big on backwards compatibility. So they're not only do they can you put an Xbox 360 game in, say, your Xbox One, they're like enhancing them. So they're older games that are actually looking better because, they're playing on an Xbox Series X. So Xbox is actually doing a lot more to preserve older games. They understand that they have an audience. Recently, they were talking about closing down the PlayStation 3 store and the PlayStation Vita and the PSP stores. And the backlash from customers was so high that Sony reversed their decision. They said, we're going to keep the PlayStation 3 and PS Vita stores. We're closing PSP. So this issue is being delayed. But the big problem is you can't even replace the battery. If the network is down and you try to replace the battery in your console, it doesn't make a difference. It needs to sync with the PlayStation Store, which I own a PlayStation 3 still, and it seems to be working right now.
Yeah, I also have a PlayStation 3, and that's pre-jailbroken, so that shouldn't be a problem then.
Now, is there any plans for Sony to possibly have, like, if the PS3, if let's just say for purposes of discussion, if the PS3 gets the store taken down or the trophy server goes offline permanently, do they plan on issuing like a final patch to let it operate offline?
Well, Spotwave also mentioned in another recent video, he said that a customer actually contacted Sony about it, and they gave him the usual PR answer of, we're looking into it. Unless Sony does something, the only other way is to jailbreak your PlayStation 3. Which is silly because the whole thing relies on the trophies and the dates of when you earn trophies. He said that when he took the CMOS battery out of the PlayStation 3, it regressed the date to like 1969. It's weird, really weird things just based on the dates of your trophies.
That's really retro gaming, Andre. 1969.
Yeah.
Wait, just
But-
is my microphone okay? Because this is a
Yeah,
brand
no,
new
it's all
microphone.
good.
Oh, yeah,
All
it's
good. No,
fine.
Yeah, you sound really good.
Loud and clear. All
Doing
good
great.
and well.
Yeah, someone sent me a new. I managed to get a new microphone, and this is my first time using it.
Nice.
No, it sounds really good.
That's perfect. So good job getting it. That's absolutely perfect.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
wow!
And, yeah, thanks.
I understand. Oh my god, it's actually.
Okay.
Stay with us. Stay
Stay
with
with
us.
us. Come on, we're all
Yeah.
friends here. That's all.
I
We're all
know.
friends.
It's just still, you guys are celebrities to me. I am.
Well, it's our pleasure to have you join the show on such a short notice, and I see in the chat they're also blown away by your clear and well articulated explanation
Yeah.
of what's going on there. Now, later I've heard that there are some issues with the Xbox as well. I am unable to recount them, but this is something new. Like in the last 2 days, when people have started looking into it, motivated by the CBomb thing, and found out that the situation in Xbox is actually much, much worse.
Oh.
Because on the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, you can hack them, you can jailbreak them, and by jailbreaking, you can maintain the current functionality. But again, this is just me referencing other articles because I don't know this stuff. But apparently, from what I gather, the Xbox is worse because you can't hack it. The only way, there's physical hardware
Yeah.
preventions that prevent it from being hacked. So you have some kind of time bomb in there as well.
Oh boy.
And that's worse because there's no getting around it, not without physically going in and doing soldering and hardware manipulations into the console.
Yeah, I'm looking into it right now because I haven't listened to Spawnwave today, which that's where I got the information from. Spawnwave does a YouTube channel, and he used to work, I think, for GameStop, and he takes consoles apart. I had your other. Yeah, I'm not
It's
seeing
still
anything.
Greek to me, but I think it makes more sense to at least some of our audience now.
Yeah.
It's still Greek,
Probably,
but
but I don't know exactly
yeah.
the details. I'm just referencing this
Yeah.
is some stuff I read. I don't know the accuracy of it, but the CBomb thing, that's absolutely a thing. And again, I'm not a modern gamer. Like, I got the PlayStation 2, and I got it to use it as a DVD player, and I got gifted some games to it that I had never really used. Ironically, apart from like the Sega Mega Drive collection, I did use that quite a bit. So yeah, and then I got like the PlayStation 3, and I had that, and I got it jailbroken actually because I used it as a media player because it was the single best media player on the market. And I have a couple of games that I've never used on it, apart from, again, Sonic Generations, which was pretty sweet, and Rayman, which is also pretty sweet, and again, Sega Mega Drive collection. So I'm not worried for myself so much, but it really sucks for those that are hardcore into gaming. Because just to be able to continue to use the games that you have right now, and as
They got
Rob
Andre.
pointed out, the architecture is different. Unless you're able to preserve it on that console, it's going to be, pardon my French, a right bitch to emulate it later on.
Yeah. Well, no, and the thing is, it isn't just the consoles though, because most of these games, when you buy them, you have a massive update on day one. And if those servers go down, that game is done. So even a game that you have a physical copy, I think they were saying Spyro the Dragon, the trilogy, only the first game is on the disc. I think it's if you have to buy the Switch version. The Witcher 3 is, I think that one's actually good because the entire game is on the Nintendo Switch console. But a lot of games you wouldn't even be able to play them anyway because you need updates for them to work.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like the thing that the things that are disk based, that should still work in some fashion, especially if you jailbreak it. But all patches will be gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's why I.
Yeah.
See,
No.
that's why. why I swear by the Sega Mega Drive. Like RoboCop versus Terminator, one of the great games there. It was done at the time when it was when it was like published, and it was as complete then as it is now, and it still kicks ass.
You know, I was when I bought the Division, it took like a 40 gig update. I was like, you know what? Now with this news, game's not that great. I probably won't miss it if that goes down offline. But some stuff you're gonna miss. But like I say, I think somebody will find a way. Somebody will reverse it. There's some pretty smart people out there.
Yeah, there are, but like it's a pretty tough job to come up with an emulator for the PlayStation 3. I mean, like to my awareness, you can emulate up to PlayStation 1 level fairly well. But emulating Sega Saturn, for instance, that is, from what I understand, is difficult. And anything above that, that's getting to be a real problem. Like PlayStation 2, I know you can emulate it, but I don't know how well. And certainly not PlayStation 3 level emulation. I mean, like technology has to come much, much further before you're able to emulate that and come up with another solution that doesn't involve keeping those consoles in some way, shape, or form. I think.
Well, yes and no, because the Xbox 360, when you play an Xbox 360 game in the Xbox One, my understanding is you're playing, like, they mimic the console, the Xbox 360, they sort of emulate the console in the Xbox One. So you're creating a kind of emulator in the Xbox One. I'm not 100% sure. However, the reason the PlayStation 3 is very difficult to emulate. You notice there's no backwards compatibility for PlayStation 3, even on the PlayStation 5. It's because of the way the hardware was set up for the PlayStation 3. My understanding is I think it had dual cores.
The cell processor, it was called.
Well, not only that, I think it also helps, doesn't it, that Xbox is built basically on a Microsoft for its operating system, basically in the Xbox. Windows. I mean, sorry.
The Xbox was always built on a Windows NT kernel, as I've read, and from what I've read, now don't quote me on this, maybe Hijabi Gamer, if you have better information, Sony used a version of OpenGL.
That I'm not sure of. I do know that that Windows 10, I think it was actually designed, I think, originally for the Xbox, it was designed for touch screens, and that's why it plays so horribly on the Xbox. I can't remember the details. But some people have pointed out the best way to go is PC.
Oh, the PC Master Race, yeah.
Yeah, I have a PC too, so.
Actually, I've been playing a lot of PC games lately myself. So I mean, I just bought Company of Heroes, which is actually not too bad.
I played Desert Strike on the Mega Drive recently. It was awesome.
Whereas I've been playing Destiny 2.
Andre, remember Urban Strike with if you cleared a certain amount of level, it would have the thing Elvis is here, and you had to blow up Elvis.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like they could get away with so many things back then. Like remember also in Revenge of Shinobi, how you have like Joe Musashi the ninja beating up both Spider-Man, Batman, Rambo, Terminator, and Godzilla in one game.
Oh man.
They patched that. They fixed that later when copyright became a thing, and they became aware of like, what, copyright? We can't use Godzilla. Oh, okay, let's change it then. But like the original version has all of those as villains.
Well, I'm just mainly worried because like I've got games I've never even got to play, and I mean I got like the PS4 with the whole VR setup that I've still got a bunch of games that when I started working here I just never got time to play anymore, so they're just sitting there in plastic. One of these days, if I ever get a day off, I'd like to be able to play them. I'd hate to, fire it all up and get it all set up and then some bitch don't work. That would really suck.
Yeah, you can have a day off to play games when we launched Midnight's Edge Gaming.
I know, but I'm just saying, and it didn't take me a lot more than a day because to set all that stuff up would probably take me a day.
I have Ghost of Tsushima for PS4. I still haven't.
It's really
that.
good.
Yeah, I bought it. I bought it back. I said, wait a minute, there's Ghost of Tsushima game. I'm usually on top of these things. And I'm like, when did this come out? And so I bought it. I still haven't.
It's really it was Player's Voice Award of the Year. For the Game Awards, they had the Player's Voice instead of the like they had a vote for players, and it was voted game of the year by the players last year. It's really, really good, and I'm normally not a sword player. I wish I could set it up for you, Tom. I know how to set up a PlayStation VR. I have PlayStation VR.
I can set it up. I'm just worried like if I get it all set up and then like my system's all bricked or whatever, like you guys
Yeah.
are talking, like that would really, be a bad thing. It's like
In the meantime, though, I know that Polly, you have
Yes.
some very cool interviews to attend, and that you have to set up.
Yes.
So naturally, you have to leave for that. But also now on the Latino slant, there are some other cool stuff to check out. What should people check out on the Latino slant right now?
Oh, right now, there's that interview I did last night with director Kenneth Castillo. That's on the main page. It's featured. It's a great interview, about 2 hours of just this guy's career path, and he's done 7 independent films, and it's just incredible. And his views on Hollywood are amazing. And congratulations, Hijabi Gamer, on being on here. It's great to meet you.
Likewise, I've been listening to you for a while now. It's always a joy to hear you on the channel. It's really interesting. You're always very interesting.
Yeah, thank you. So then we have some killer interviews coming up that we're going to record for Midnight Says Español. Midnight Says Español will be tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific. For now, for the next 2 weeks, still on the Latino Slant channel, guys.
there you go. So check that out, and I'm sure the wrenches have been sharing the link. So thank you much, Polly, for hopping in. We appreciate it, and you take care, and I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later, guys.
Can I ask you guys something?
Sure.
Did you know that IDW created a Star Trek comic in the 1990s that did the exact same thing that Star Trek the Strange New World show was doing? It's called Early Voyages, and it was Pike and Spock. It was, I think, 17 issues, and it even covered the whole smile thing, and it explained why Spock became more logical. No one ever talks about these comics.
I have them. I haven't read them all, but I'm very well aware of them. I haven't read that particular run. What I will say about the IDW comics is the ones that they have released over the last few years, generally, they're so good. They're so good. Why couldn't they have like the writers of the IDW comics do like Star Trek on the big screen? Like the only IDW comics that haven't worked out in Star Trek are ironically the ones that are based around Discovery and the Picard shows. Like they're a mess. But like for instance, their comic book continuation of the Kelvin movies, they're awesome. And especially like the picture books of the original series and how they continued. Like they're right up there with the original series. And like some of those, they're so good. So yeah, I'm familiar with Early Voyages, but I haven't read the whole thing. I've read bits and pieces, but I'm not surprised if you say that they're doing the same thing as Strange New Worlds, because that whole thing has been one rip-off after the other.
They also talk about the mission before the cage, because in the cage, Spock is limping, and one of the helmsmen has an injured arm, I think. So they talk about the mission, that they show how Spock was injured, and they talk about how his human died, because I think it was the cage, he says that his human had died. No, the menagerie, the longer version of the cage.
Yeah.
He says that his human died, and this explains how his human, who you get really invested in, he was a redhead Irishman, and it's just nobody ever mentions them anymore, the IDW from the 90s. So cool.
Yeah. No, I'd love to visit. Like, we've made reference to the ones that are relevant to Star Trek today, but yeah, IDW, they've done really good with their Star Trek license. They have few companies outside of Dark Horse have done as good with any license as IDW has. And I see that many people in the chat are impressed again with your knowledge, and you're getting more subscribers by the minute. So awesome everyone that have done so. Go and head on over to the Hijabi Gamer, check out her channel and subscribe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And we have
In fact,
some,
I'm thinking we might cut that bit out where you explain all the PlayStation stuff and put it up as its own separate video so people can access it quicker so they know what the hell's going on. Because it's still, I don't understand it, but you know, I'm old.
I get the gist of it, because I'm like, wait, they're ending preservation. This is no surprise to me, but it's still horrifying, and gamers need to be aware.
Yeah.
Now is the time to keep your physical media, but also maybe consider like looking into some videos detailing jailbreaking. Maybe consider that. So I'm gonna say, but yeah.
Well, Tom, you know how when you have an alarm clock and you pull out the plug and the clock remains, and then you plug it back in and the time hasn't changed because there's a small
Right.
battery? So this is the same thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's the internal clock. And in order for the PlayStation to work, if the battery dies, it needs to reset the clock by linking to the PlayStation network. That's how I
Right.
think of it. So if the network is down and the battery dies and you replace the battery, it doesn't have a place to go and sync the clock.
So is it worse that my PlayStation 4 has been sitting unplugged in for the longest time?
This is something that shouldn't actually happen for, like, they're saying 10, 15 years. Your PlayStation 4 should be fine for a long time. So like, it's something far off in the distance. The PlayStation 3s may start having the issue now, but because they decided not to close the PlayStation 3 store, it's not really an issue until they shut down the network.
Gotcha.
Your PlayStation 4, should be fine. Because mine is also, well, I tend to use my Xbox more.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I got hooked up right now on my main TV, but eventually I plan on getting my PS4 up on my 3D TV and having all the VR stuff all hooked up there and having that for that system. But all right, yeah, that explains a little easier in my layman's terms anyway. Appreciate it.
One other thing that, if you can tell Paulie, because Insignia is Best Buy's brand. A lot of people don't know this.
Ah, yes.
So if he needs to get a replacement for his, I know what he has, the VHS DVD VH DVD combo, he should go to Best Buy. They might have something that will work. That's a universal remote. That's by Insignia.
Gotcha. I'll let him know that if he's not listening still.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you want to stick around, I think we have some super chats that might.
Yeah, we do. We have some more super chats to go through. So yeah, just stick around, and we'll get to that. Rob, of course,
I gotta jump.
Around,
yeah, I got a couple things I gotta take care of. So I gotta jump. Hijabi Gamer, nice meeting you.
Likewise, it's an honor to meet you, sir.
Okay, I'll give you. How you doing? So, yeah. So in case you're wondering, there's nothing going on under here. So I call this hair alternative treatment, HAT. So
I'm so getting you a Mario hat.
A what?
I have
nothing.
A what?
One.
A what hat?
Nothing. You'll get it in the mail. Just shush.
And film the unboxing.
Yes.
Yeah. See, my problem is right now. I always say, do I buy a new game console or do I buy another guitar? And I always buy another guitar. I'm like, damn it!
Grow a mustache.
Oh no, I look terrible with facial hair.
Just do it.
Yeah. Oh, Marin. Okay.
Or get a fake one.
All right, guys. Hey, have a good rest of the afternoon. Everybody, Hijabi Gamer, nice meeting you. Everybody, be good to each other and yourselves, and take care of each other. I will see you all next time.
Take care.
All right, take care. Then we have some super chats.
Yes.
Douglas Nelson says, what's required for the entertainment industry is basic management, but the current cultural and political minefield makes this nearly impossible. Yeah, there's an issue. Rambam 3000 says, there are no arguments from principle for censorship, only arguments from authority. This is indeed the problem and related to the earlier point. Mags says, this will be like NASCAR and other sports sponsorships. Ads slapped on everywhere. Obviously in reference to what we said earlier about like retroactively inserting commercial tie-ins into older movies. So yeah, good luck with that. An accidental tourist said, Orson Welles on colorizing Citizen Kane. Keep your damn crayons off my movie. I don't know if that's an actual quote. I kind of hope it is, but I can believe that
I think
it is.
it's one of those more famous misquoted lines. I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something similar to that. If
I'm sure he said something along those lines. And yeah,
I think he actually said
movies
some more
looks-
like "keep your fucking crayons off my."
Yeah, like
yeah.
recolored movies.
It was a lot worse than
Kind
what
of
it
like
came
crap.
out, yeah.
So yeah, for the most part. And Master Clockwork says digitally inserting or altering product placements isn't new. You can find articles about this from 2014. Yeah, but it's easier now. That's the challenge. Ready Player 3 says more incentive to buy physical media and older discs rather than newer re-releases. Ashen Jackal says, without physical media, a black market will open. And Rod Thunderheart says, yes, Tom, you can download universal remotes for most smartphones. Drove friends crazy switching channels on theirs and pretending not to know anything.
What is happening?
Practical joke.
Now you gave me an idea.
Yeah. And Michael Millard says PlayStation Network had the most underrated comic book show Powers cancelled due to no one able to find episodes. I never saw it, but
See,
I
that's
know
the
the
fun.
comic that it was good. So yeah,
I saw it.
Yeah,
It's actually good.
I can't believe Sony didn't take advantage of the fact that they had the perfect platform to launch a streaming service on with the PlayStation 3 initially. They could have been so early on in the game. Through all their movies up there,
they could have, but it was a strategic choice to be pure gaming, and it was the right choice at the time. But they didn't change strategy when situation called for it, which would have been around PlayStation 3.
Exactly. Yeah, like because they would have launched a streaming service built specifically like that, and they could have even called it like the Sony PS streaming network or whatever. I mean, I know they tried with Crackle and all this other stuff, but I mean, a pay service where they actually had all of like Sony's movies and like access to a bunch of their TV properties that they own, which they do own a lot. And even maybe like some exclusive, like you could have even had a lot of, there you go, like shows like that and shows built off their video game properties and stuff. It was a very big missed opportunity, if you ask me. And now it's way too late to try and start something. That's why Sony made their deal with Netflix.
Yeah. And then next one is from my countryman Paulus Plain, who says for 50 Norwegian krona, tusen takk, André, tell the Americans about the movie box of the 1980s. P.S. Love from Norway. Okay, the movie box. Back in the 1980s, not everyone actually owned a VHS player for themselves, or a Betamax for that matter. So most video store rentals, you could also rent a movie box. And what a movie box was basically a playback-only VHS or Betamax player that you could rent alongside the movie, so that people that didn't own a VHS or Betamax player could still see the movie. So
we had similar stuff here.
There. Yeah, I would be surprised if you didn't.
In fact, all the early VCRs
were ahead of the curve on stuff like that.
I was going to say, in fact, all the VCRs for the early on ones, they were specifically built that they didn't have recording mechanisms in them when you rented them. Yeah, they had specific rental-only units.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is for that, so that you wouldn't like record over the tapes by accident.
Well, yeah, not just that. There's other reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. You also had like the check things, means that you couldn't record, but that's easy enough to bypass if you know how. And then Diego Flores says, Andre, hacked consoles in Latin America is not an option. It's a standard for us. Also, you should have called Geek Tropology. He and I talked about it yesterday on stream.
Yeah, he's another guy I plan on having on eventually, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have him on, but again, this was something more of a spur of the moment, since it kind of like spun off from the
and I think he's helping out
classics talk. But yeah,
I think he's also helping out with Midnight's Just Spent You All, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
as
actually,
well,
yeah, he is. He's part of that. I mean, he may be part of the interview.
There you go.
Yeah. And Joel Rice says for €2, hail the Hijabi Gamer and meet. Awesome community. Totally. We have the best community, such as the Hijabi Gamer who comes on short notice. So that's awesome.
Which we appreciate, by the way. Yeah, totally. Like on short notice.
Yeah. And Rod Thunderheart says for 10 Canadian dollars, thank you so much. My friend who, sailed the high seas, downloaded many movies, showed me how to upload and save movies onto the PlayStation 3. Usually discs, but the Hitachi hard drive with same mini USB as controller can be used. Yeah, there are many ways that you could use the PlayStation 3. Like I used it myself as a media player before the NVIDIA Shield and Kodi was a thing that the PlayStation 3 was to go to. So I'm not going to go into any more details about that. I'm just going to go. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to just go and say look for videos talking about jailbreaking to see some of the opportunities and risks, so pay close attention to that. Fat Steven Seagal says, Eyes Up Guardian. This is the nicest panel ever. THG. Oh yeah, the Hijabi Gamer. Of course. That's good for it. Yeah.
Andre's not good with like the acronyms and stuff, neither am I.
No, I have to stop and think for some of them. And Fat Steven Seagal says, Andre. But the Soon was the ultimate media player. Yeah, it was, in the idea of its designer. There came many more ultimate ones by the time it was produced and on market. Rod Thunderheart says for 10 Canadian dollars, thank you so much, I've got 2 PS3s. One is full backwards compatible with a large hard drive, and the model I bought doesn't have that, though. Still using the Spider-Man logos, but both have a lot of high seas movies uploaded. Yeah, if it has the Spider-Man logo, that would be like the PlayStation 3 fat model, wouldn't it, Hijabi Gamer?
I don't know. I have a PlayStation 3, like not the super slim. I have the slim, but it must be the fat if he's playing.
If it has the silver front, yeah.
Yeah, the fat one, the first version of the fat one is the only one that has full backwards compatibility.
Which is the one I used to have, and then I got tricked and I tricked myself into getting a new one because I got pissed. But that's a whole fucking story I'm not getting into.
Yeah. That's a shame because like the first one had heating issues, but in terms of backwards compatibility, that was the only one that could one more time that could play PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, as well as PlayStation 3 games. Like all PlayStation 3s, no matter which model, can play PlayStation 1, but only the very first version
can play the PlayStation 2
model could play PlayStation 2.
And that's what happened is I had the original OG one, and I kept having to send it back in because it kept overheating on me. Well, I called Lemon Law on the fourth time I had to send it in. So I went to but I said, I want to go to the store and pick one up. I'm not going to sit here and send this into you, wait another few months to have it. Because that was my only thing I had to play Blu-rays, games, everything on. And so I said, okay, and they set it up for me. Well, I didn't realize it when I got it. It was the newer model when I got it. So I'm like, shit. And I couldn't play any of the PS2 games. So I ended up having to sell all my PS2 games. It was like, psh.
Yeah, that's the one I have. The one that has the slide drawer, not the slide top. And it came with a camera too, a PlayStation Eye that I sold.
But yeah, for those who don't know, Lemon Law kicks in after the third time you have to send something in for a warranty, by the way. That means they should give you something new on the fourth time. And if they don't, you can request it technically by law.
Huh.
That means they've gotten 3 chances now to get it right the first time.
No.
In most cases, when you do that, unless it's something like a game system where, you have your own personal stuff already on it, they'll generally just give you a new one. Like most TVs and stuff like that, if your TV goes to hell, it's cheaper for them just to give you a new one.
Yeah, I use Geek Squad from Best Buy. So like when my Switch bricked, they gave me a new Switch.
Yeah. And if you're still got questions about it, you can check it out, but I'm pretty sure it's the 4th time you have to take something back in. So, yeah. I don't know about federal law, Roger H, but I know it's on the books somewhere because I looked it up and I used it to my advantage at that time. This was like almost 15 years ago now when I did this. This was when the PS3 first came out. It was a long time ago. Yeah, the lemon factor. Yeah.
And then moving on, Roger H also says, Andre, consider getting Mega SD or an EverDrive Pro for your Mega Drive. Nothing beats playing games on original hardware. Actually, it's funny that you should mention that because I've been doing research on which one of the two, the Mega SD or the EverDrive Pro. How do they compare against each other? Which is better? If only getting one, which one should I get? I am inclined towards the Mega SD. I know that the EverDrive Pro is newer, but is it better? I don't know, so please tell me. I'm inclined to the Mega SD. Am I wrong? Should I go for that, or should I go for the EverDrive Pro instead? Convince me. And Hypergiver 2 says, there have also been multiple Star Trek and X-Men crossovers in both novels and comics.
Oh yeah.
I actually have one of those novels. I have the second one, not the first one. So yeah, there have been some funny crossovers going on there. And Bogue says, can you spoof the NTP they use for the PS3? To which I say, I have no clue. I think you can, but I don't know. You're going to have to refer to those videos detailing exactly everything to do with jailbreaking. They will know. I don't. That's way too technical for me. And Xenobit says, bricking consoles isn't the only problem. Cartridges can get worn out, requiring repaired and new capacitors. Yes, this is the one thing with the Sega Mega Drive things, that as long as all connections work, they will continue working. But with too much frequent use, that's an issue. And the disk rot problem, where old disks degrade over time, even just sitting on the shelf. Yeah, this is a thing, especially on disk rot can happen to any disk. Shouldn't happen, but it can happen.
I see. That's the thing, is nobody has really found the true cause, but the best I can come to is it's got to be a combination between the obvious, which is the cheap glue, which is the one that some people have caused.
That seems to be the obvious explanation.
But the other one that I've noticed has got to be something environmental, because I've had a few people come to me and they've said, I've had this massive problem with disk rot. And it's like, but you're having it on so many different disks that it doesn't make sense. That has to be something environmental that's doing that, because if it was a certain specific run, fine. Laser discs, certain runs of those, and certain ones that came from certain facilities always had certain problems. Even CDs have had issues like that. To me, if you can't trace it back to an official run or something that, like, if you go on Google and everybody's like, yeah, my Beatles White Album constantly, I got disc rot. So did I. Obviously, that means there was a bad run. But I've had guys come to me and say all that their discs are rotting, and it's like, well, then there's something that you're doing wrong with wherever you're storing them, because there cannot be that much of a broad problem in your collection like that. Usually, it's isolated. So, I mean, I've had a few Blu-rays that have already had disc rot, believe it or not, but it's very isolated.
Yeah, it's been known to happen. So,
but mine is purely just because of the sheer number I have. It's only, it's the odds.
When you have huge numbers, it's going to be inevitable. But still, preserve your physical media. And
see, like Emperor Billy Ritchie says, Emperor disc rot is preventable, and I believe that's true. If you keep them in a dry area that's within proper conditions, I think you'll be fine. For most part, humidity is the problem.
Yeah. If you live by the sea and you have your window open a lot, that's going to be a challenge. Or another really humid area, that's not ideal storage conditions.
And the amount of heat, if you deal with a lot of heat as well, or even cold, because cold can cause plastic to become brittle. and that would possibly cause it to separate the glue, because that's really what disc rot is it's the glue getting rotted out or whatever between the two pieces of plastic.
Yeah. And Troy Pacelli, he says, to the Hijabi Gamer, don't call Rob sir. He works for a living, and you are wonderful. A blessing to YouTube. So kind words for you there.
Thank you.
Note that he only singled out that you don't have to call Rob sir. He didn't say anything about Tom.
Okay, sir. I work for a living.
So yeah, and moving on, Straight White Mage says, look up a 1970s movie, Looker, where they predicted the complete digital manipulation of broadcast media to fake footage of the US president. Very interesting. And sent us a diamond super sticker. And Straight White Mage says, I buy retro consoles at the peak of their features compatibility. Slim models remove features, then I'm out. Yeah, this is something that I've learned only like too recently, that slim models tend to be cheaper and not necessarily better. You have like some historic examples where later models were an improvement, but generally the first one was as good as it got. Not saying that's a good thing, but that's how it was. And with that, we are actually caught up.
Awesome.
So with that, I'd like to, unless Tom, you have something else to add?
No, I think it was kind of a slow news day because certain other things going on are kind of taking up the news right now. So
yeah, and our actually one news. This will you like this, Tom? Season 4 of Cobra Kai coming in.
Oh, I heard that.
The end of the year.
Yep, I heard that. That's true. Yep, that's one bit. So that's one thing to.
That's one
Netflix
good news
announced their slate. They
Yep.
also announced that Witcher or whatever is also on the slate. And all that
but who cares?
I know, but I'm just trying to make it for more than just me. But yeah, more Cobra Kai. We knew it was filming, so that's a good thing. But yeah, I want to thank Hijabi Gamer for taking the time to hop in here today. Hopefully, I'll hear back from our initial guest again. Maybe there was some mix-up that something happened, but it happens sometimes. But Friday, I think Cecil's going to be here.
Wait,
so,
Cecil is real or not? Because I've seen people talking about someone named Cecil, and I was starting to think he's some kind of gaming entertainment kind of like boogeyman. Like everyone talks about this mystical Cecil.
Cecil is life, Cecil is love.
Yeah, he looked real the last times he was here.
I saw someone named Cecil, but then people talk about him like you just said. Cecil is life. Cecil is love. Cecil is just like.
No, Cecil is a real person, yes, but he always hides his face, and yeah, he's a goofy character, but he has his own YouTube channel, and he generally hangs out with Anna and EBS and those guys. But yeah, he's got a comic book coming eventually, maybe.
Okay,
I think tonight's the last night you can get in on Cash Grab too. By the way, I think tonight at 2 a.m. So we're in the last 12 hours of it, folks. So.
Well, that would be great. Then he can come on Friday and say, now it's too late.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or he might have extended it by then. We'll see. No, Cecil's a character, that's for sure. Yeah. So I can understand somebody not wondering if he's real or not. But yeah, as far as the person and the character himself, I'm pretty sure both real. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So as long as he's sober enough to be here on Friday or whatever and doesn't stay up again all night like last time, we should be okay.
Actually, that was 2 times ago.
2 times ago? Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, you never know what to expect from Cecil. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So chances are Anna might be here too, just to make sure Cecil, you never know. She's like his pimp. So she says that. So it's not even like a joke.
No, she's not even joking. And she also makes sure that he keeps on drinking because he's really Cecil when he's not quite sober. So yeah.
If you're curious though, check out his channel. He does some great reviews and
yeah.
We also got another super chat in here, Andre.
Yes, my countryman Paulus Plain says Mars colonies will have big issues with entertainment from Earth. Yeah, more than one, because when we do get them, then they're gonna have to deal with time delay. So that's one thing. And
Was that a joke also going off of like the whole thing of like, wasn't there some like kids like going, oh, all that thing does is go up and down and they spent all that money on it or some shit like that? I don't know. I wasn't keeping up with the
yeah, I wasn't paying attention to it.
but it's like the rover or whatever it was. I don't remember, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that thing. I didn't pay quite close enough.
Yeah,
attention
there
to
was
it.
like some kids making fun of
the
it.
helicopter that was like going up and down on the Martian atmosphere or something.
Yeah, they're like, that's all it does for all that money.
Yeah, well,
And then like people are like, it's Mars. It's like,
well, it only goes to show how badly education system has failed. But yeah, I'm not going to get into that. What I will get into though is I want to say thank you to everyone that joined us today. Special thanks to the Hijabi Gamer for jumping in on such short notice to educate us on gaming matters, which aren't our forte usually. So everyone, do follow the Hijabi Gamer. We'll be sure to add the link to the channel in the description. And also, thank you so much to everyone that have been watching today. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to check back again on Friday. We'll have some more regular videos before then, hopefully. And with that, Hijabi Gamer, what do you want to plug?
I'm just still in awe and shock. I'm sorry. I cannot believe I'm actually talking to Andre and Tom of all people. Wow. I don't have any. It's Ramadan right now, so my channel's a little unpredictable because I'm fasting. Yeah, plug Koala in the Rain. I don't know.
Well, that just usually is our out to go. But yeah, check out her channel. And yeah, I'm sure we'll have her back again. So take care of yourselves and each other. And good day.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koalas